All right, so much like WWE, um, I'm in a different location, but hopefully, I don't have any major technical problems, and all my wires are good, and hopefully my video just doesn't stop, halfway, and you have to wait 25 minutes before I have to, you know, get the video uploaded or get the video back up and running, I should say. Um, Everything should be hunky dory. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Daniel Strunk from QuickTime Reactions, and yeah, the time that I'm recording this, it is almost 20 minutes past 1 in the morning. So this is like coming out literally in the early morning hours of show day, but better late than never, I suppose. And welcome to my Night of Champions predictions video. Um, like I said, I'm out traveling. I'm actually up at a convention. So here is the deal in terms of, excuse me, me getting a review out to you guys for Night of Champions. I'm going to be very, very busy tomorrow, not only at my convention, but I'm also planning on seeing F1. So expect a review for that on the channel um, over this weekend as well. So I do intend on seeing that film. So when I will watch Night of Champions without getting, major spoilers, that is going to be a little bit difficult. So I don't know exactly when my review of the show will be out, but I can rest assured that a review for the event will be out. I will still watch the show. I will still watch, maybe not the post show, but I will at least know what happens on the post show. Um, and I'll basically kind of relay, what happens on the show. So still expect a review of Night of Champions on the channel. It's just that it might not be immediate. But enough of all that house cleaning. Let us get into my predictions. Starting off with the only, I guess you can call it, non-gimmick match on the show, which is Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. Now, this one's, kind of been bubbling under the surface for quite some time. Karrion Kross has been kind of, stirring the pot with a couple of the guys on the main roster, and now he's finally going to be wrestling on a big show and a big stage. Although, if I were to be a betting man, I'm going to say that Sami Zayn is probably going to win this matchup. Um, just because I think, Cross hasn't had a match on main roster television. I know he's been working main event a lot, but he's not wrestled a match on main roster television for quite a while. So I'm thinking that it'll probably end up being Sammy who wins this matchup. Moving on to the street fight between Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. Now, this isn't the first time that they've had a street fight. I believe it was either a street fight or a last woman standing match that happened in NXT when Raquel Rodriguez was Raquel Gonzalez. So we know that these two have amazing chemistry, and I think they're going to burn the house down when it comes to this matchup. The idea of who will win it will be very interesting, because you could stick with the status quo and have Rhea, get a big babyface win over a rival of hers and Raquel, who's best friends with Liv, lest we forget. Or you could go with the interesting choice and have Raquel win by some weird circumstance. And that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Raquel winning this match via the help of one Roxanne Perez. I think Perez will end up helping Raquel win this matchup and start to slowly worm her way through the Judgment Day to get her trust and her hooks into everybody, so that she can be viewed as the next kind of up and comer, the next rising star of the Judgment Day, much in the same way as how Liv kind of infiltrated the group. So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen, is that Raquel is going to win this matchup. Moving on, we're going to go into some finales to some tournaments, as we've got the Queen of the Ring final, Jade Cargill versus Asuka. Now, this one's very interesting. Jade, who I think has been undefeated. I don't think she's been undefeated, but I think she's not had a pinfall on her since coming to WWE. And then, of course, Asuka making her return for the tournament and kind of just showing the Asuka of old, shall we say. I can see both of them winning this, and both being feasible contenders. Because I think Jade, if she wins, she'll probably go after Tiffany. If Asuka wins, she'll go after Io, much like what they talked about on Raw in that one segment. So it's real coin flip odds here. But if I were to give the edge to somebody, I think that somebody would be Jade. And the only reason I say that is because what I think they're going to have with the women's Money in the Bank briefcase is Jade will most likely beat Tiffany at SummerSlam to win the championship. However, Naomi will come out, clock her with the briefcase, cash in, pin her, and then she will be women's champ. That's what I think will happen at SummerSlam, at the first two-night SummerSlam. So yeah, that's the only reason that I would give the edge towards Jade, because if Asuka wins, I think Asuka versus Io, that'll be a really cool match to happen at SummerSlam. But I honestly see Io retaining in that case, and I don't see any other pathway for that. So that's why I give the edge to Jade being crowned Queen of the Ring. And moving on from Queen of the Ring, we now have the King of the Ring finals. Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. Now, again, this one is very interesting. Obviously, I think both guys, if one of them wins, they'll probably go on to challenge Cena for the championship at SummerSlam. Cody, obviously, wanting to get the belt back when he lost it at WrestleMania this year. And then Orton, of course, WWE loves to renege on its taglines. Yeah, remember when they marketed Rock and Cena's Once in a Lifetime? That never stuck. So, one more time at Backlash, that may not happen if Orton wins King of the Ring. But I'm pretty confident that Cody's going to win King of the Ring. Mainly because, not to take anything away from Orton, but I think doing that match in St. Louis, which again I was there for, I think you should keep that as their last match, and then give Cody the rematch at SummerSlam, and maybe put the belt back on him, maybe, or I do have wheels turning in my head. That the fantasy booker hat may be coming back out just in time for SummerSlam. So, I got some ideas turning in my head as to, what direction it could happen. But sticking with this show for now, I'm going to probably say Cody Rhodes is going to win King of the Ring. Moving on to some title matches, we have Solo Sikoa challenging Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship. This one's very interesting because, in my opinion, I don't see them taking the belt off of Jacob for quite a while. However, you do have, this big dude named JC Mateo, that's out there at ringside that's probably going to, come in and cause some havoc. However, there is, a really tall, curly-haired dude that is purportedly in Saudi Arabia. So he might show up on the show. But, that's just, speculation that I've heard. But I'm going to go with the safe bet, and I'm going to say Jacob still will be U.S. champ when he walks out of Night of Champions. Because unless all those people show up, including that really tall guy, I just don't see them taking the belt off of Jacob anytime soon. I really don't. So, yeah, that's my prediction. Jacob Fatu retains the U.S. title. Which takes us on to our main event. John Cena, CM Punk. CM Punk wrestling in Saudi Arabia. Of course, he apologized for the tweet that he sent out to The Miz, all them years ago. And I just love the fact that Cena, basically, when Punk came out to accept Cena's challenge, it's like, I'll wrestle you anywhere and anytime, Punk said. And Cena says, all right, we'll have our title match at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. Basically, looked at Punk and said, you said all this stuff about Saudi Arabia. Why don't you put your money where your mouth is and fight me in Saudi Arabia for this title? The build for this has been very interesting. Cena, of course, cutting his own version of Punk's pipe bomb. And then on this episode of SmackDown, Punk came out in the Doctor of Thugonomics gear and gave his own rap verse to Cena, which I thought was a really, really cool and very interesting response to Cena basically copy-pasting Punk's pipe bomb promo from all those years ago. This will be very interesting. Of course, both of them have really good chemistry with each other. Just look back to, Money in the Bank, Night of Champions from 2012, their one Raw match from 2013. Like, these guys know how to, have a crowd in the palm of their hands. Now, granted, do I think they're going to do all that stuff? No, I don't think so. But it will be a very interesting match to not only see play out in the ring, but also in the crowd. Like I said, Punk, with his comments about Saudi Arabia, he was booed at that kickoff event, but he did eventually work his way into getting some cheers toward the end. But it'll just be very interesting to see the crowd dynamic on this show. As to who I think will win it, I'm going to stick with Mr. 17 time himself, Mr. John Cena, because if Cody is winning that King of the Ring tournament, having that rematch from WrestleMania will probably most likely be one of the main events of SummerSlam, the 2-night SummerSlam that's coming up. So, yeah, I don't see them deviating from that in the slightest. So I think Mr. Cena will win the match and will go on to face Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. And there you have it, guys. My predictions for Night of Champions. Like I said, I don't know when the review will be posted, but it will be posted. So look out for that on the channel at some point over the weekend. But that'll do it for me until, I see the show and I report back to you on how I felt about the show. But until then, guys, be safe out there. And remember, if you are a wrestler, you make sure you tuck your chin and when you take your bumps, because, you could get your bell rung. Just a little bit of advice. And I'll see you guys next time.